everyone. Welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Mike.
And I'm Rainbow.
And today in our window on the world, we're looking at the Hong Kong Palace Museum. And this is great because with us, we have a native of Hong Kong.
Yes, we
How long did you live in Hong Kong when you were younger?
Oh, so I used to travel a lot from Taiwan to Hong Kong because I
okay.
have relatives there. We
Yes.
used to go back like a few times a year.
Okay.
And then I went to school in Hong Kong later on.
all
So
right.
I did spend a few years there and I loved visiting the museums in Hong Kong during my free time because you know, Hong Kong is very small. So there are few places that you can go because there's so many people that have a lot of space. So museums are one of the places that are more spacious. And in Hong Kong, there's a free museum day. So it's during one of the weekdays and you could go in there for free. And when I was a student, I used the student pass and I love to go to the museums there, especially the Space Museum. I loved it.
Okay, I also like the Hong Kong History Museum.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great. It's a very modern museum. They have kind of street scenes you can walk around in. It's like traveling back in time
Hong Kong.
to see the old streets and the buses
Looks like
and
the
the
movies.
shops of Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I always thought they should do something similar here in Taipei. But we don't have that kind of museum. But we do have a palace museum filled with wonderful treasures from ancient China. There's, of course, another famous palace museum in Beijing in China, and it seems that Hong Kong now has their own version of the Palace Museum. I think there's also a smaller one down in Chiayi.
Oh, is there?
So there we go. So a lot of these palace museums, both here in Taiwan, over there in China and Hong Kong, they're filled with wonderful treasures, objects of art from ancient China, the kings, the emperors, all that stuff. So something to check out next time you're in Hong Kong, but we'll be checking it out for today and tomorrow. So let's find out about it.
Hong Kong is a big and important city. It has many things for people to see and do. One great new place is the Hong Kong Palace Museum. The museum has over 900 works of Chinese art. They are national treasures from the Palace Museum in Beijing. Many of them are on show for the first time.
All right, so the Hong Kong Palace Museum is our subject and our title. Let's get into it. But first, we should talk about a couple of the words in the title of the article and in the name of this place. Let's begin with palace.
A palace is a very big and fancy place for the king to live in. So back in the day, we had palaces in China that were so beautiful. There are wonderful palaces in India called the Taj Mahal. These are where all the kings and queens lived in their big structures. Now today, we don't really live in palaces anymore in the modern city, but we do get to see them in places that are further away. There are a lot of buildings that copy the style of a palace. For example, some restaurants when we travel abroad can look like palaces, but the real palaces we would definitely go and visit when we are on tour in countries that had queens and kings. And here, it's not a palace, but it's a palace museum.
All right, so a museum is a building that is built for education and for the collection of important things from history. We can have museums for almost anything that you can think of, but many museums will have things that are important to a country's history, things that are important in the world of art. Art museums are very common. We can have science museums filled with things that scientists have learned and discovered and used over the years. But I've been to toy museums, shoe museums, car museums, doll museums. There's a museum for cup noodles. In Japan, you can find museums for all sorts of stuff. Many experts will get together, get stuff, organize it, and then put it there for the public. That's you and me to go and look at this cool stuff that has been collected in one place and protected from time for everyone to see, look at, learn from, and enjoy. Let's get to Hong Kong. It says Hong Kong is a big and important city. Yeah, it is. It's got, what, 7 million people or something like that?
Lots of businesses, lots of money.
For business, for trade, for travel. So yes, it is definitely a big city and an important city. And then we read, it has many things for people to see and do. That's why tourists love to go to Hong Kong for the history, the culture, the shopping, the food, all sorts of stuff. One great new place is the Hong Kong Palace Museum. So new that I think you, Rainbow...
So new that I've never been there.
You've never been there. So that's something to look forward to next time you visit.
I'm very excited to go back because I haven't been back for a while since we had the pandemic. The museum has over 900 works of Chinese art. So this is maybe somewhat similar to the one in Taiwan, right? They are national treasures from the Palace Museum in Beijing. Many of them are on show for the first time. So everybody in the world gets to enjoy these wonderful items that Beijing has hidden for a long time and is finally releasing nowhere but in Hong Kong. These are national treasures. So when we talk about national, this relates to the word nation. So when we talk about the Chinese nation, this is everybody and everyone in the history of China. It is our national treasure. That means Hong Kong and Beijing. Hong Kong is a part of China now, and it's a part of that whole culture that's in that country. So of course we can use national to not only talk about treasures, but to talk about things that only exist in the country. For example, a national flower could be on the Hong Kong flag, or we can have a national song that we sing in Taiwan every day when the flag goes up and we sing it at school. These are a part of our nation, our country, our culture. So in this case, we are talking about national treasures.
And a treasure is something probably very valuable, worth a lot of money, and also probably very old. It comes from a long time ago. Now, a lot of us would think of pirates burying chests or boxes filled with gold and diamonds and precious stones. That could be a treasure, of course, and it would be great to dig into the ground and discover a pirate's treasure. You would become rich right away. But it could also just be something that is not very expensive, that most people don't care about, but it's important for you. If it's a ring from your grandmother, that could be a treasure, even if it's a simple, not expensive ring. You might have pictures from when you were a kid or something, your old teddy bear from when you were a baby. And for you, that's a treasure. It's something very valuable, something from the past, something that you want to hold on to.
It's priceless.
You don't throw it away. You want to keep it safe for a long time. And we also have this word show.
Yes, and here show is a noun. So when we are talking about a show, that is something we watch, that people perform in. So for example, they could be a show on live theater where you pay money to see people on stage. Or it could be a show that I go to where someone plays instruments or sings also on a stage. So when we talk about something being on show, that means it's on display. It's not a show that people are performing at, but it's these objects and treasures that are being shown for the very first time, which is always very exciting. Okay, so let's find out more about this museum very soon after the break.
The museum has special shows too. Visitors can learn about Chinese art and culture. They can also see art from other big museums in the world.
All right, let's find out more about this Hong Kong Palace Museum. Well, of course, they have 900 beautiful ancient objects from Chinese history that have been loaned from the Palace Museum in Beijing. But that's not all. Sure, if you love ancient Chinese stuff, you can go and look at all that. It would be fascinating. But as we read on, it says the museum has special shows too.
Ooh.
Often they put something on for just a few months. It might be there from another city. They kind of lend it to other places for a short time. But whatever they have for these special shows, it says visitors can learn about Chinese art and culture. And often these museums, they have classes for people, right? You can go and learn how the paintings were done and how the vases were made and all that stuff. So it's not just about looking at things, you can really learn about them, and all of this will hopefully attract many visitors.
Yes, and a visitor is a person who visits the museum. So when you go somewhere, you are visiting, that is the verb, and you are the visitor. Of course, you can be a visitor to many places, such as a country. You can visit somebody's home. You can be a visitor to a home. It could be maybe a hospital or a government facility. A visitor is somebody who doesn't live there but is just going for a short time. So museums have many visitors every day passing through to enjoy the beautiful works of art and the beautiful local culture.
Now, what is culture? Culture, it's a big word that covers lots of things.
It's everything.
But basically, culture is what makes people from different parts of the world different to each other, different from each other. Now, I'm not talking about how people look, you know, the shape of their face or the color of their hair. No, it's not that. But if I say this guy's from America and that lady's from Japan, what would you expect? They eat different food, they speak different language, they sing different songs.
They look different, wear different things.
Right, but how you look, that's not culture, but they learn different things at school, they have different history. When they do things, have holidays, they have different holidays. When they get married, they have different traditions, certain different religions in different places. All of these things, the food you eat, the language you learn, the religion you follow, the songs you sing, the stories you tell, these are all parts of culture. And of course, different people from different places in the world will have different cultures. That's what makes things interesting. Back to the article.
They, those are the visitors, can also see art from other big museums in the world.
Oh, nice. I think I went to the National Palace Museum here in Taipei a few years ago and saw a big show from the British Museum.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There was a traveling show.
100 of their greatest things or something. So that's another thing. You can go to the museum and see what they have there all the time, but also keep your eye out because every few months they might have a new visiting show that's really worth seeing and much cheaper than flying to London to go to the British Museum, for example. All right, guys, that's all the time we have for today, but we'll be back tomorrow with more about the Hong Kong Palace Museum.
Yay.
We'll see you then.
Bye.
Hong Kong is a big and important city. It has many things for people to see and do. One great new place is the Hong Kong Palace Museum. The museum has over 900 works of Chinese art. They are national treasures from the Palace Museum in Beijing. Many of them are on show for the first time. The museum has special shows too. Visitors can learn about Chinese art and culture. They can also see art from other big museums in the world.
Hi, I'm Tina. 我们来看这一课的重点单字。第一个 museum 名词博物馆。The museum is free for children. 儿童可以免费参观这间博物馆。 下一个单字 national， national 形容词，国家的。National parks are very popular。国家公园非常的受欢迎。下一个单字 show， show 名词，展览。On show 指的是展出中。I don't like the new show。我不喜欢那个新展览。最后一个单字 visitor， visitor 名词，游客、访客。The zoo had a lot of visitors over the weekend。上周末动物园有很多游客。接着我们来看重点文法。第一个 A has be for somebody to 加动词 A 有 be 供某人做某件事情 For somebody to 加动词用来修饰 be。课文中的那一句 It has many things for people to see and do 当中的 for people to see and do 指的是供大家看和做，来补充说明 many things。意思就是说许多能够让大家观看和体验的事物。我们来看看这个例句。The supermarket has different kinds of food for people to buy。超市有各种不同种类的食物供人们购买。下一个文法 work of art 艺术品，这是一个名词，复数形式是 works of art。work 指的是作品。我们来看看这个例句。That sculpture is an amazing work of art。那座雕像是一件惊人的艺术品。Sculpture 指的是雕像、雕刻作品。Amazing 就是惊艳的。最后一个文法 for the first time 首次、初次。First 指的是第一的，这是一个叙述用法，前面必须加上 the。我们来看看这个例句。I visited Japan for the first time when I was 15 years old。我在15岁时第一次去日本旅行。以上就是这一课的重点单词跟文法，我们下一课再见，拜拜。
Hi everyone, today we'll be taking you to the Yunlin Agriculture Expo Park. Now, after the exhibition is over, now visitors can still come here and visit the exhibition area. This is a great place for holidays. People come here and enjoy the natural beauty. So maybe you guys will want to do the same too. So let's learn more about the Yunlin Agriculture Expo Park.
Yunlin Agriculture Expo Park was formerly the place of the 2013 Yunlin Agriculture Expo. After the exhibition period, visitors can still come here to visit part of the exhibition area. The park has 6 core strengths, which are harmony and environmental protection, food safety, balanced ecology, culture creation, sustainable survival, and cultivation of education. Based on the 6 core strengths, the park wishes to become a park with both ecology and recreation. This is a good place for holidays. Visitors can come to the park without an entrance fee to admire the flowers, trees, wetlands, lakes, and small animals. The large buildings in the park are all made of natural materials. The park also uses these buildings to support the concept of environmental education. The current Yunlin Agriculture Expo Park will be turned into a puppet show-themed park for parents and children in the future. It is believed that visitors can not only come here to relax, but to also create beautiful memories.
After learning about the Yunlin Agriculture Expo Park, we know that it has a lot of natural beauty and there's no entrance fee at all. So next time you're there and you want to relax, don't forget to visit the park and take lots of pictures. Now we'll see you guys next time.